Hello students, today we will study about the groups of Protista. What are the groups of Protista? Chrysophytes, dinoflagellates, euglonoids, slime molds and protozoans. First of all, chrysophytes. So this group includes diatoms and golden algae, which is also known as desmids. This group includes diatoms and golden algae, which are also known as golden algae is also known as desmid or desmids. Okay, where are they found? They are found in marine or freshwater. They are found in marine or freshwater, and they are photosynthetic microscopic planktons. Planktons means such kind of organisms which move or float passively on water. Their cell wall is made up of silica. Silica is quite a hard substance which is almost indestructible. It cannot be destroyed. And the cell walls overlap with each other. The cell walls overlap with each other as to fit in a box, and they have two overlapping hubs. What are those? Like a soap box. There is the upper half. Have you seen a soap box? There are two halves, upper half and the lower half. The upper half is known as epitheca and the lower half is known as hypotheca. So at the bottom of the pond, sea, whatever, freshwater or sea, where they live. So at the bottom of the sea, they leave the leftovers and they pile up, and that particular thing is known as the accumulation of the leftovers of chrysophytes. It is known as diatomaceous earth. Diatomaceous earth. Okay, whatever the spelling, check it. Now, what are they used for? They are mainly used for making rooms soundproof, used as insulation material in refrigerators, boilers, etc., and also in polishing and filtration of oil syrups. So that was chrysophytes for you. So chrysophytes, what do they include? They include diatoms and golden algae. Golden algae is also known as desmids. Golden algae is also known as desmids. Where are they found? They are found in they are mostly marine, and they are also found in freshwater, and they are photosynthetic. That means they are able to make their own food. Microscopic, you know that. And planktons, that means such kind of organisms which float passively, not actively but passively on water. And their cell walls have two overlapping hubs. Their cell walls have two overlapping hubs, like a soap box. Their cell walls overlap each other just like a soap box. The upper half, there are two halves. The upper half is known as epitheca and the lower half is known as hypotheca. And their accumulation at the bottom of the sea or any other source of water is known as diatomaceous earth or gritty soil. Diatomaceous earth or gritty soil, and they are used for making room soundproof, also as insulating material in refrigerator, boilers, furnaces also, and they are used in polishing and filtration of oil syrups. Now it is the second one is dinoflagellates. Where they live? They are mostly marine. They are mostly marine, but some of them also live in fresh water. Mostly marine, but some of them also live in fresh water, and they are photosynthetic. That means they have the capacity to make their own food, and their cell wall is composed of stiff cellulose plates. Stiff cellulose plates, and they have two flagella. They have two flagella. They are of different types, and it's known as such kind of organism which possesses two flagella of different kinds is known as heterocont. So one of that flagella arises in vertical form. Between the wall plates, in a furrow between the wall plates, and the other one is in a transverse form, and it arises from the anterior part. There are two flagella. One arises in the vertical form in a furrow between the wall plates, and the other one arises transversely from the anterior part. Dinoflagellates, especially red dinoflagellates, which is known as goniolates. It's an important word here. Goniolates, they appear the sea make red. They appear the sea make red. How do they do so? By multiplying rapidly, and they release toxins. Toxins are very harmful to the marine organisms, and as a result of that, many marine organisms die. So they are mostly marine, photosynthetic, and their cell wall is made up of stiff cellulose plates. They have two flagella. One is in vertical form, and it is in the form of a furrow between the wall plates, and the other one is in transverse form, and it arises from the anterior part. Red dinoflagellate or goniolates, it appears the sea make red because it multiplies rapidly and also releases toxins, because of which many marine organisms live this particular world. The third one is euglonite. There are many fresh water organisms, and mainly they are found in stagnant, that means where the water stops a bit. They do not have cell wall. But they have pellicle. What is pellicle? It is a protein-rich layer. Which makes it flexible. They have two flagella, one long and one short. And they practice mixotrophic nutrition. How do they practice mixotrophic nutrition? Because in the presence of sunlight, they are photosynthetic. But when they do not have sunlight, or in the absence of sunlight, they turn to be heterotrophs, and they predate on animals. They hunt small organisms. Let's draw a figure of Eulina. This is the figure of Euglena. So Euglena is found in fresh water, in stagnant water, and their cell wall is not made up of what? They do not have a cell wall. They do not have a cell wall. Instead of cell wall, what do they have? They have a protein-rich pellicle, which makes them flexible. They have two flagella, one long and one short, and they practice mixotrophic nutrition. That means they practice, or they are photosynthetic in presence of sunlight, but they are heterotrophs and they predate or they hunt smaller animals when they do not have sunlight. This is the figure of Euglena. Now it is the turn of slime molds. What are slime molds? They are saprophytic protists. They are saprophytic protists, and they move over twigs and leaves, engulfing the organic material. So what are slime molds? They are saprophytic protists, and they move over twigs and leaves, engulfing over organic material. When the conditions are favorable, they form an mass or aggregation, which is known as plasmodium. And this plasmodium, this spreads to several feet. But when the conditions are not unfavorable, what happens? Plasmodium differentiates and it forms fruiting bodies. And these fruiting bodies bear spores at their tips. And these spores have true walls, which are highly resistant, and because of which the slime molds can survive for many years even if the conditions are adverse. The spores are dispersed by air currents. So now it is the turn of saprophytic protists. They move over, that means they are found over twigs and leaves, and they engulf the organic material from those things. Under favorable conditions, they aggregate and form plasmodium, and this particular plasmodium may spread over several feet. But when the conditions are unfavorable, not according to their liking, what happens? The plasmodium differentiates. And form fruiting bodies. And these fruiting bodies bear spores at their tips. These spores have true walls which are highly resistant, and because of which slime molds can survive for many years. And these spores are dispersed by air currents. And the last one is protozoans. All protozoans are heterotrophs. And they live either as predators or parasites. Either they hunt animals or live on the body of other organisms, harming them. There are four major groups. Of protozoans. The first one is amoeboid protozoans. It catches prey using pseudopodia, that is false feet. And the example is amoeba. Some of them are parasites such as ant amoeba. So amoeboid protozoans, they catch prey using pseudopodia, that is false feet, and the example is amoeba, and some of them are parasites such as ant amoeba. Flagellated protozoans. The members are either free living, either they live freely or they are parasites, and they possess flagella, whip-like structure to move from one place to another. And some of them are parasites such as trypanosoma, which causes sleeping sickness, Leishmania donovani, which causes kala jar. So the second one is flagellated protozoans. They either live freely or they live in the form of parasites. They possess flagella for movement, and some of them are parasites such as trypanosoma, which causes sleeping sickness, and Leishmania donovani, which causes kala jar. Ciliated protozoans. These are aquatic organisms, and they move actively because they have thousands of cilia. And they have a cavity called gullet. What do they do? Let's make a figure of that. This is a figure of paramecium. Ciliated protozoans. So these are aquatic and they move actively because they have thousands of cilia. Because they have thousands of cilia, they have an open cavity which moves to the outer surface. This is called gullet. Because of the coordinated movement of the cilia in a rhythmic manner, what happens? The food along with the water, it is pushed by cilia into the food gullet, and then it moves into the body. The last one is sporozoans. These sporozoans have an infectious, a spore-like stage. They are harmful. Mostly they are harmful. So they have an infectious spore-like stage in their life cycle. And the most notorious of them is Plasmodium, which causes malaria, killing a lot of people. So these sporozoans, these include diverse organisms, and they have an infectious spore-like stage in their life cycle. And the example is Plasmodium, which causes the malarial parasite, which is harmful to the animals. Or human beings, mainly human beings, not to animals, mainly human beings. So we have gone to the different groups of Protista in this particular lecture. Afterwards, we will move towards fungi. Till then, keep studying biology and don't forget to subscribe my channel and like and share my videos.